Welcome one and all. Today we're here to talk about the Enth tournament for our one and only A5. This tournament is the major event that's kicking off the roleplay as a whole, and it takes place in the city of Barcelona. It'll be ongoing for as long as we have the resources and players to keep it going, so if it hasn't been announced as finished yet, and you happen to be new here, you can still join. We'll just replace one of the NPCs that are on the roster filling space with your name. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. Roll in the 17th, year 1227, in the beautiful city of Barcelona of most glorious Cerida, to be fought in the legendary Arena de Bonhomia. Their Majesties the Reyes, the Enth family, in celebration of the first birthday of their firstborn son, Sacha Enth, have decided that they should throw a most glorious tournament. In entry of this tournament, no outside equipment is permitted. All are welcome and encouraged to attend from each corner of the realm, and the winner shall be permitted the chance to ask a wish of the King, His Royal Majesty Salvatore Agustin Guillemar Enth. Alright, so what is the Enth tournament? Well, it's a giant excuse to introduce all of our characters to each other, since this is really what's starting A5. It's a tournament, but you don't have to be good at CRP. It's basically entirely randomized. And if you were looking forward to CRP, you can kind of look at it more like a giant multi-round giveaway, where each round you have the chance to win something new. The prizes start out pretty basic, but then eventually work their way up to things really worth having. So it's got less to do with the pride of, oh, my character won, and more to do with just things that you can get in the meanwhile. As you can see, the entries in red here are all NPCs that have no real bearing on the weight of the actual tournament. They're just placeholders outside of the threshold that we needed to start the tournament, because we're not going to wait for 64 PCs to join. If any players happen to join after that, we'll just swap out one of those names like I mentioned before. And as it mentioned before, the duels are to first blood or yield, so there are plenty of reasons why a character might lose if that's what you're worried about. I know we all kind of want to have our characters be cool, so for some of us this will, be an opportunity to explore that, and for others we can explore maybe why they'd want a rematch later. Oh, I lost because you kicked sand in my eye, or oh, I lost because I accidentally got scraped on a rock and that was just the way the rules work, or I don't know how to use this stupid sword, what am I even doing here? Let's try this for real on the streets. It's just a way to start introductions so that later in the roleplay, when you bump back into each other, you got something to talk about. Alright, now this next part's going to get a little crazy because there are no outside pieces of equipment as stated before. So here we actually start off with a memento sword, which is a gift from the Royal King, and it's just an arming sword. And that's what all the competitors are entering with. No outside equipment at all, no armor, no rings, no jewelry, no special accessories, just the memento sword. But after each round, you get the opportunity to upgrade it. As you can see on the left here, we have 5 tiers because there are 6 rounds in the bracket. And each victory that you acquire, you'll have the opportunity to upgrade your weapon. Now, each upgrade has to start at tier 1. After one victory, you'll be able to go into either reach, magic, confidence, enhancement, adaptability, defense, or force. You can jump into any of these categories at will, but you can only begin one of the categories at the tier 1 level. So if you were to start something in, say, reach and get a spear, then your next option wouldn't be the tier 2 skills for any others except for in reach. You could get the next spear up, but there's nothing after that. So if you wanted to go all the way up the reach category, you could then restart after that at the tier 1 of any of the other categories. If you started in a category with 5, you can go all the way up, or you can mix it however you want. You can kind of do this at your own will. Each time you win, you get the opportunity to do it. You can either get a new tier 1 or climb up any of the tier 1s that you've gotten up until we're out of rounds. So for example, again, if you go from reach from the spear up to the banner there, then you could jump down into, say, magic and start climbing there. If you went all the way up, you would be able to get to the tier 4 in magic. Or, you've got options basically is what I'm saying. If you start at tier 1, you can climb to tier 2, then up to tier 3, and so on and so forth, but you have to go back down to a tier 1 if you start a new category. So, I think I finally made that make sense. Sorry for the long-winded explanation. Now we're going to get into a little bit about what each of these categories do for the upgrades, starting with reach. It's kind of self-explanatory, but really you're just going for the range advantage on your weapon. It's longer than a sword. You get a spear. And of course, the spear is in tandem with your sword. You have both weapons. Now let's move on to the next category, which is magic. Magic, as you can see from the icon, gives you a staff. Now, all of the magic ones are staves. We're not going to talk about exactly what modifiers are for what, but long story short, gives you access to the ability to cast magic in at least some degree. It is one of the ones with the most opportunities to upgrade, so you can do with that information what you will. But we're going to move right along now to the confidence category. This one is pretty simple. They're just things that give you a little bit of extra confidence, which can have their own benefits one way or the next. So, sometimes charisma goes a lot further than just sheer prowess. And onto the next category is the enhancement category. These ones are all about taking the sword you started with and making it as best as possible. This also has one of the highest amounts that you can pursue all the way to the end. After this, we are moving on to the adaptability. Now, these, like the spear, are giving you an additional weapon on top of your memento sword. So you're getting multiple swords that you can choose to use based on who you're facing. You have now options. You can swap between one sword and the next, however you so choose to do that. Next up, we have the defense section. Now, this gives you a shield, and just like the sword, it's going to give you that in addition to your sword. So you now have an arming sword and a shield to work with, which gives you a little bit of additional defense against whatever else someone happens to be using. You've got that extra hand now to work with. Finally, we have the force category. This is all about overwhelming force, sometimes being able to break things, and just really kind of being an overwhelming presence on the battlefield. And just like everything else, of course, this gives you an additional weapon, unlike the enhancement or confident one where it's just kind of about building what you got. Now, the two main things to keep into account when you're going along with these upgrades is that at the end of the tournament, regardless of when you get knocked out, you get to keep literally everything that you were given. So all of your upgrades go into your inventory. Now, if they were enhancements on the memento sword, they are still on that sword. You can't transfer them to other things, at least not by any normal means. But, if you get a staff, if you get a shield, an axe, a spear, whatever else, anything else you happen to have, those stay with you for the rest of all time. And the second thing to consider is that all of these things have, well, I shouldn't say all of them, but all of them have some sort of effect. Some of them are just for the tournament that give you better odds of victory, and others can be more useful outside of the tournament because they have other enhancements to them. And when it's your turn to select an upgrade, you'll be given the opportunity to choose one. Then you'll be told what that upgrade happens to do specifically with regards to your chances in the tournament. Now, if you want to tell everyone what that happens to do, you're welcome to do so, but you're just as welcome to keep it a secret until you've been eliminated in hopes to increase your odds by not giving them more knowledge. Now, the last thing to talk about is the mechanics of deciding the victor. I'm just going to input everything in a 50-50 chance into this wheel of names here, and I'm just going to spin it, screen record it, and post it straight up. I originally thought about doing this in a way where people could witness it, but I can't screen record it and do it in a screen share on Discord at the same time from the same device. Unfortunately, that means I can't really do it with any witnesses because unless every competitor is present in the VC watching the screen sharing at the same time, it kind of loses all meaning. So I'm just going to do it as normal. You'll have to trust me. I'm not going to fudge anything. And I'll input all the modifiers that are relevant, wink, wink, when they become relevant. That's all there is to talk about right now. So make sure that you're all signed up. Make sure your names are on the roster in the document. And I'll see you out there real soon.